I'm Megan Fox with Storytime Digital Media. I'm here at Lincoln Way East High School in Frankfort, Illinois, where the District 210 school district is refusing to give up documents to tell us who paid for this playground right here. The Chicago Tribune has reported that Nancy Power owns Aunt Nancy's daycare and has been operating out of all 4 schools without paying rent. And now the taxpayers want to know who paid for the playgrounds. Nancy Power lives in this $500,000 estate in an upscale Frankfort suburb. Because of deals like Power's 10-year agreement with former Superintendent Lawrence Wylie to operate her private business rent-free, the district has run finances into the ground, causing a vote to close the almost brand-new school, outraging the community. Parents fighting to keep the school open filed a lawsuit to review the shady dealings that led to the financial crisis. I sat down with Steve Eberhardt, attorney at law, who filed the lawsuit to find out what is happening at District 210. All right, so you filed suit against Lincoln Way School District. That is correct, right?
Correct.
You were just in court the other day. This was to stop the closure of Lincoln Way North without proper review. Is that correct?
Well, we make the claim in the lawsuit that the decision was arbitrary, capricious, and unreasonable, and that's the legal standard in Illinois. The claim in the lawsuit is that the Lincoln Way Board did not properly consider all the evidence that they needed to consider and basically made a rush to judgment. And what the judge said concerned him is if, in fact, the board decision was based on any consideration of not letting the State Board of Education come in, the judge said that would be arbitrary and capricious. If this is true, that the board made this decision to keep the Illinois State Board of Education out of looking at the finances, that's arbitrary and capricious. He asked me if I wanted to appeal his decision or amend the complaint, and of course we want to amend the complaint because we want him hearing this as soon as possible because we're on a fast track getting close to that closing date.
There is some confusion with people who are following this because the Chicago Tribune put out a misleading headline, I think, at least it seemed misleading to us, where it basically said, judge dismisses case, leaves door open for another complaint. So everyone thinks, well, it's over. Explain how that's not the case.
It's absolutely not the case. I've been involved in litigation where sometimes you have to file 3rd and 4th amended complaints. The judge dismissed with prejudice 1 count about the qualifications for one of the board members to present the motion.
Gotcha. And that would be his didn't take the training.
Correct.
Proper training. One of the board members, Kozel,
didn't have the proper
did
training.
not have the proper training, and that the judge says he doesn't care.
Right.
Which
and ultimately
doesn't really make sense because that's against the law.
Well,
yeah?
I agree, but he's made his decision. But looking at it from litigation-wise, that's not really the most important issue.
Right.
The most important issue is whether the board was arbitrary and capricious in their decision. So by the judge basically saying, okay, I'm dismissing these now, but I'm inviting you to file an amended complaint, what he was saying by that, I think, is the board made this argument basically that they were some kind of gods and they were immune from lawsuit. And the judge made very clear by what he said that they are not immune from lawsuit. They do not have unfettered discretion. They cannot do anything on any kind of a whim and a fancy. They have to act reasonably like every other governmental body in the state.
And how do you feel about that decision?
Well, it gives me a little more work to do, but we're going to get it done, and we're going to get that amended complaint filed, and hopefully the judge will be hearing that as quickly as possible.
How long do you have to file that complaint?
14 days from yesterday.
So you do have a lot of work to do.
Yes.
I won't keep you long. It appears to me, and anybody else, I think, who has looked at any of these details, that the taxpayers of Lincoln Way District have been defrauded. Why, in your opinion, do you think that this board decided to close Lincoln Way North when it was new and has low operating costs and a lot of students attending and the people are very happy with it, when Lincoln Way Central is old and falling down. I've heard reports of mold, raw sewage, leaking water, $250,000 water bill. What would make them not choose that? Oh, asbestos. What would make them not choose Lincoln Way Central to close?
I can only guess.
And none of them is good, is it?
No. I'll ask it in the form of a rhetorical question. Were there political considerations? Very possibly. Were there conversations between board members and other people that didn't want that closed? Very possibly. I cannot honestly say that we know for a fact, because now our attention is away from that point of the litigation and just targeted on, was the board trying to prevent the state from coming in and looking at their finances, and those finances involved all those other things we put in the original complaint to show the background of basically the bad decision making on the part of the board.
The Tribune reports that former Superintendent Wylie has gotten the highest retirement package in the history of education retirement packages. It's over $300,000 in retirement benefits. This is the same guy who treated Lincoln Way North as his own personal stomping grounds and built a dog park to train his dogs.
It's reporting from Lincoln Way North High School that has been slated to be shut down amid controversy of major fraud and waste by District 210. I'm standing outside Superdog, which is a barn on the property of Lincoln Way North High School that ex-superintendent Wylie has used as his personal playground. For 3 years, Superdog operated without paying any rent to the district, with no student benefit whatsoever. When it became public knowledge, Wylie quickly funneled Superdog through the Park District and started returning some of the money to the taxpayers, but not nearly enough to cover the cost. Lincoln Way taxpayers take no comfort in this, considering that they are going to lose their brand new school. And the taxpayers have footed the bill.
He allowed a daycare center to operate in all 4 schools without ever paying any rent.
Correct.
It seems like he treated the district as his own personal playground. How on earth can we hold this person accountable for what he did? Is the lawsuit the only way?
This lawsuit. This lawsuit does not target what Wylie did and the specific amount of waste. There's other ways of attacking that, but not in this lawsuit.
Do you think he will have to be sued in order for any of that to be returned to the taxpayers?
The board could make the decision on their own to seek reimbursement for all these monies that were improperly spent. Short of the board doing that on their own, it would be incumbent upon taxpayers to do it.
Could taxpayers file a lawsuit against Wylie?
Taxpayers could file a lawsuit against the board to take action against Wylie. I mean, it's ultimately the responsibility of the board, based on the duty that they owe the taxpayers, to say things like, Superdog was not authorized, Aunt Nancy's was not authorized, and those monies should be returned to the district for the benefit of the district. And short of the board doing that, Illinois law provides that certain actions can be taken.
There's also the house that the district owns,
right,
that the coach has been renting for $500 a month, which is an incredible deal for a house.
I wish I knew about those deals all these years.
Do you know where the rent is going?
I have no idea.
It's quite a story. It's quite a story.
And that's another thing for the board to look into.
We're standing outside Lincoln Way North, where you can now see Aunt Nancy's behind us. They are a daycare center that never paid any rent for any of the high schools that they had used space in. And also, we can't get the district to tell us who paid for those playgrounds that you can see behind me. The citizens and taxpayers of the Lincoln Way District want answers. I'm Megan Fox, reporting from Frankfort.